What's up, guys? It's Shuja here. So this is the first video for Magic the Gathering Arena that's going to be on my YouTube channel. And this is going to be a deck tech, and I plan on doing a lot more of these in the future. So let's get right into it. So this is a deck that I brewed up to carry me through Diamond into Mythic with only about a day left, right? And it's been showing quite a performance over the past couple of hours. And again, this is something I brewed up in my head, and I was like, you know what, I'm missing land drops, things are coming to play tapped. So what I did is I wanted to relegate all of that, and what I ended up with was this mono blue deck, so eloquently put, catching a lick, or a lick if you will, means putting in some work. But yeah, the deck is low to the ground. So what the deck plans to do, it plans to get in early and then protect the creatures leading up to you basically going down to 0 life. Beautiful pool bag, if you will. Kind of reminiscent of the old school Delver deck when Innistrad first came out and Delver Seek was initially introduced to us. But if we just get into it. So first we have the Ascended Spirit, 1-drop, 4 of, well, we're using all Snowlands, by the way. And then we have Delver's Secret. You already know what he does. Turn 1, Delver. Turn 2, you got a 3/2 punching people in the face while they're still playing tap lands, or they just don't have a turn 1 or turn 2 removal spell for them. And then after that point, we have Fading Hope. Very good for also assisting the Delver and helping them to flip. Now, again, it kind of reminds you, if you guys remember, my Black-Green Elves deck. Another brainstorm that I did just to get to Diamond. That got me basically all the way from Bronze up until Diamond, that Black-Green Elves deck. And I'll actually leave a description down below just so you guys can see the video on that Black-Green Elves deck and just show you how it works, and maybe you want to play it. It's pretty competitive for rank. Traditional, it's like 50-50, but if you do best of 1, I promise you, you'll probably be winning about 85% of the time, because no one's expecting elves to get bum rushed, you know? Now, moving forward, continuing with the deck, we have the Malevolent Hermit. Can't speak English, but we already know what this guy does. You play him turn 2, and then at that point in time, it's like, I dare you to play a Planeswalker. I dare you to play the Chariot. Because if you go first, you put this guy on the board, more than likely that Chariot's not going to be resolving, neither is the Planeswalker. Or the other little cantrips that's going on, especially in the blue-red deck. This guy's a menace. And then reject, again, Planeswalkers and creatures. This is what this format's about. There's werewolves, there's elves, and a whole lot of just debauchery just floating around. And reject handles that very well. Moving on, we have Divide by 0. This card is absolutely absurd. I can't even express how, pardon my language, fucked up this card is. Literally, spell or permanent, mana value 1 or greater, back to the owner's hand, and then you learn. Now, this card is really powerful for the fact that you don't even need to counter something. Like All-Around's Epiphany, I've had people All-Around's Epiphany, and I've just divided it by 0 because I know you had the counter spell. Or if we get into a counter war, it's like you counter, and it's like, you know what, just divide it by 0. My counter spell, and then counter your All-Around's Epiphany, you know? This card is just so... Comments down below. Then we have Saw It Coming, Foretell counterspell. It's pretty typical. Behold the Multiverse, Foretell, draw. You already know what this is. Memory Deluge, another broken card reminiscent of Dig Through Time for me. I can only imagine in Legacy or even Modern if you had Memory Deluge plus Dig Through Time plus Tasker and that Garmag Angler, just absolute problem. Then, of course, I wanted a beat stick. Honestly, I was torn between Limrith and Alron. The simple fact, everything in my deck is an instant. Outside of the creatures, everything's an instant. And I was thinking Alron himself, because when Alron's on the board at the end step, you call a card type and you reveal the top 2 cards from your library. And if I call instance, more than likely I'm going to get an instance. How many we got in here? We got 19 instants and 3 sorceries. That all-around is really good. But just in my opinion, I think all-around can get killed very quickly. But I feel Limrith, the Desert Doom, he's just like, yo, he's a thick boy. He got a 5/5. He has a fat butt. And then when you factor in the ward, in addition to him, if you have 0 cards in your hand or less than 3 cards, you draw up to 3. Whatever the difference is. Very powerful card. And it's a flyer, which most people can't really deal with in this format. know, most things are on the ground, like the chariot bringing the cats. Only thing I can really think off the top of the head I can deal with flyers would be Ren and Seven's creature token based upon the lands, you know? But outside of that, nobody can really stop this guy when he hits the board. And then, of course, we have All-Around's Epiphany. Typical blue staple. And if you're in blue, most of the times you're going to have 4 copies of this. Unfortunately, I didn't want to play 4 copies because I wanted to squeeze that extra Limerith in. I probably could have chose something else, but I want to get in early game and just, you know, protect my creatures and just get things out of the way while I'm punching you in the head, you know? And then as far as our land counts, we have 2 Hall of the Storm Giants. Manland, really good. We have about 17 snow-covered islands. Again, feeding into the snow synergy. And then, of course, we have more manlands. So instead of just putting 4 Hall of the Storm Giants, I decided to put 3 Faceless because these things have Vigilance, so I could always keep mana up. Because again, in a blue deck, having untapped mana is very, very important. And this thing, it just comes up and just starts punching people in the face. It's wonderful. And you can use this mana, since it's colorless, you can use it to actually help foretell cards. And then, of course, 2 Field of Runes, because in a monocolored deck, why not? You know, you're going to be destroying other people's man lands. And to be honest with you, I initially had 4 Field of Runes in the deck, but then I realized on turn 1, I actually do want to have more blue lands versus a colorless. So this is how I've come down to this conclusion. Instead of 4, we have 2 Field of Runes. And as far as the sideboard, I don't think this deck really needs much assistance, but what I do have is I have 2 copies of Wizard class. When it comes in, no maximum hand size. And then the really important part to me is just if you basically start getting to the counter where you have no extra synergy, you're scared something's going to get countered. If you sneak this in turn 1 or turn 2, and then it's like, hey, I need to draw some cards that won't get countered, Wizard class is really good at just drawing you 2 free cards. Test of Talents, this card is absolutely bonkers. Pretty much reminiscent of Surgical Extraction, if you guys know what that card is. If you don't, make sure you look at it and let me know in the comments below whether you think Surgical Extraction should be brought back into standard. Next, we have Teacher of the Archaics. Again, just off of Divide by 0, we need some lessons to be targeting. We have 1 of this, just exile non-permanent. Do I like giving cards? No, but pretty effective. Fractal Summoning, very good for just putting a big token on the board should you need it. Again, Maddening Cacophony. The reason why I put this in here is because I really didn't feel like this deck really needs much support. And I feel like when you get into a long matchup, just milling half their deck and just throwing your resources in the graveyard and laughing at them. At least they can't see you, but you're gonna be smirking like, "Oh, you pretty." Was that your win condition? In the graveyard now. Good looking, you know. 2 negates just for the additional add-on, but I feel like the Test of Talents plus negates might be overkill. But in some matchups, you just need to remove some shit from the game. Catch my drift. And then, of course, Environmental Sciences and the second copy of Introduction to Annihilation. All right. So this is pretty much the deck overview, and what I'll do is we'll get right into the game, okay?